I am delighted to introduce Dylan, who is the Global Trade Sales Manager at Backroads Touring, and he's actually joining us all the way from Sydney this evening. Our evening, very much not quite evening for him, and although it might feel like it is a little on the early side. So I'm really, really grateful, Dylan, for you joining us, and really excited of what you're going to be going through with us for Backroads Touring and Scotland's Backroads. So yeah, if everyone's comfortable and you're ready, then over to you, Dylan.
Great. Has my screen shared across, or is my backdrop on the screen at the moment?
Yeah. Your screen is showing. Yeah, I can see your mouse.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So good evening, everyone. Just shed some light on what Melissa was just talking about. It's currently 4:30 in the morning in Australia. So normally I'd be getting ready to go to the gym and make myself all nice and beefcake today, but I thought, no, I want to come and talk to some lovely people about the Backroads Touring product, and with some highlights on Scotland, but we'll go through some of our also our UK tours to make it all come together. Making sure. My name is Dylan Hearn. I am the global head of sales here at Backroads. We do have our UK office. We do have our office in Chiswick, but all due to COVID, there have been some changes. So our full sales team are based over here in Australia, and then our product operations team are based in the UK. And hopefully once this thing all works out and everyone gets their jabs, things can go back to some sort of normal again. But we're excited to have you guys join us today, and hopefully is in time join us on the road as well. So I guess the starting point, and I jest a couple of times, and even yesterday when I was speaking to Melissa about the context of today, I thought I'd just touch on who Backroads Touring Co. is, because we are a UK operator. We've been in the UK for over 35 years, but many people I speak to in these sort of sessions hadn't quite heard of us before. But I guess what our quintessential difference is that we are a small group tour operator, and I'll flag some of the differences throughout the presentation as well. But when we say small groups, we are traveling with a absolute maximum of 18 passengers. We cannot fit any more passengers on the coach. We average at 12 to 14 per departure. We are generally traveling in one region only. So sometimes when you look at coach touring, it's multi-country over 3 weeks at a time. We're average only 9 days. So we are really just trying to get, whether it's Scotland, whether it's the UK, Italy, Spain, Portugal, just the essence of the region that we're traveling through. And I think with the changes that are evolving with COVID, this will be really, really important, because we know the borders somewhat on and off every other week. We know France has just gone back into a lockdown again, and so has Canada. So we're hoping in the new world that this singular country or singular region approach actually has some benefit. Our vehicle is a Mercedes luxury Sprinter. And what this allows us to do and provide for you is ideally a fly drive holiday, but you're not driving. You're sitting back, you're relaxing, and you're taking in all the sights and delights while listening to our wonderful tour leaders taking you on the journey with the comfort of just hanging out with your partner, hopefully. So I was going to try this video one more time, but I don't think the sound's going to come through. No sound. I had a wonderful video there. And I guess the essence of the video that would have inspired you all and made you all get excited this evening is from our tour leaders. And this is really what makes the difference with a Backroads touring experience. For the safety of you all, we do have a driver and a tour leader, although it is a small vehicle. So we still have the two people guiding you on your journey, but the tour leader's job is to make sure you are safe, looked after, and educated throughout. But these are all local guides. So whether you're traveling in Scotland or whether you're traveling in Italy, or whether you're traveling in Portugal, all the guides are localized. So you're going to get bits and pieces of the tour that you just wouldn't have expected or even planned for in your sort of immersive sort of thinking of what you want to get out of your trip when you're talking to Melissa in the booking phase. And one of the great parts of that video is one of our Scottish guides on day one of our Scottish journey tour. We actually take you into a small town that he grew up in, and he does call home. So it's little tidbits like that that make those tour experiences, 100% memorable, and the reason why you want to keep coming back to this style of travel. As I mentioned, there's sort of a picture of the coach there as well, but it allows us to add some flexibility to our touring program. So whilst we, yes, have a manifest of day 1, day 2, day 3, there's often experiences where you might have some family history or some family legacy in a particular region of that tour that you want to try and get to. I know this is huge on our Battlefields tours. We actually really customize that to the group's experience if you have any Battlefields history that you need to touch on. I know a close friend of mine went on a Portugal trip last year, and they completely deviated off the beaten path to take her to a beach that her grandmother had grown up on. So with the nimbleness of the small coach and the drive times, and when we get to the tour schedules later on, you'll see that we're actually only traveling quite a short distance, and at a maximum at a time, only 1.5 hours on the vehicle. So you're not cooped up on a bus for hours on end listening to some guy waffle at the front. You're actually spending more time in destination, wandering, seeing, learning, and doing. So who travels with Backroads Touring? I guess the average consumer would be the retired market, those who have time on their hands to enjoy. But we have a full range. We don't take children under the age of 13, and the touring experience and age really sort of sits between that sort of 55 and 70 for that average tour. Just to make sure, I know you guys all look 21 in the video here, but it is also 4:30 in the morning. So I'll just make sure we've got the right customers talking to today. But really, I guess our quintessential core values is the experiences you have on tour. So, like the concept of traveling in a small group, and I think once again with this COVID kind of thing, that the limited numbers are a positive. The fact we don't travel to cliche destinations. We don't go to the Eiffel Tower. We don't go to the Colosseum. We go to really small, quaint, personal, unique destinations en route, whilst we can travel on the back road. So this is a different reason why you might look to Backroads Touring as a product. So you have a bit of a thing for culinary, perhaps. You might have a thing for history. These are huge selling points for the Backroads Touring product, and especially the culinary. And that's what sort of drew me to the company myself. I'm quite what they call the gastro tourist. My wife is the destinational tourist. We take the scenic route, and this is our lovely vehicle here, your coach for the drive, the beautiful Mercedes Sprinter. As mentioned, you are only on the coach for a maximum of 1.5 hours at a time, plenty of stops, cups of tea, visiting, exploring. We have no optional excursions on a Backroads Touring tour. So what you see on the tour is what's included, and there's no additional costs that you'll be incurred for entries and things on your tour. So it's an easy, budgetable product to go with. And once again, it's only a short period of time. It's not an expansive part of your weeks, months, or years. Where do we stay? Now, we don't advertise 3, 4, 5, 6-star hotels as part of our package. And we know that's a lot easier to understand sometimes for you, and also our travel partners to portray to you guys. But what we try to use as our selling piece is hand-picked accommodation. We want your day touring experience to be amazing, immersive, and educational. We also want your nighttime experience where you put your head down at night to be the same. We want the ability that with our short drive times that you can maximize your free time, and maximizing your free time could be putting your head down for a kip. It could be just sitting down, relaxing on site with a cup of tea. It could be then packing up, putting your walking shoes on and exploring the town even more. So the hotels and things we choose, and I'll point out some of them in the presentation later on, really do speak to this. So beautiful accommodations like the Mulberry Inn here in Wales. I love the Hotel Eguren on the Highlights of Northern Spain tour. This is nestled right in the heart of a winery. As I mentioned before, I'm a gastro tourist. This talks to me, but beautiful viewing platform up the top for any of the photo buffs that we might have on this chat today. The Kelanian Island, the Mermaid Inn in Rye. This Ronda property here in Spain is actually nestled on the cliff in Ronda. So from the backside of the property, you're looking straight across the ocean. It's wonderful. In Ireland, a castle. We use a couple of castles on our touring program there. So yeah, not your quintessential Hyatt, Marriott, Ibis hotel, but really do speak to the destination that you're traveling through. Traveling in a small group really enables us to get into places that ordinarily big coaches just can't do. So local providors, beautiful houses. Some of the hotels we stay in can only fit us in. Some of the restaurants we dine in can only fit us in. So it gives us a huge opportunity to exploit this. And I do find this as a massive benefit to the small group program. Also en route, and this is a bit of a cheeky, hopefully a funny comment, we'll see how we go. If we do have to stop for a bathroom break, it's much quicker to get on and off the coach to go and to look after that for you all too. So you're never standing there and waiting around idly in destinations for a group of 40 or 50 to come back on board. You're all quick and easy ready to rock and roll onwards on your journey. If we have any tall people here, I'm not, but if we do have any tall people, we do have a 1-seat and a 2-seat set up on that coach as well. So for the tallies, sometimes either the back seat or the side seats are a great way for you to stretch out. But again, we're not traveling too long each time on the vehicle. I'm not going to read through these, but just we have some amazing reviews. So if you do want to look at the reviews, they are welcomed on our website there just to make you give you some peace of mind, if you like. Sort of talks to the number of people on that first one there that we have on board. It talks to our tour leaders. Again, these are an amazing selling point of our tours. And, you know, probably be one of the biggest memories you come back and tell your friends about when you come back from your tour. It definitely does. So in the light of COVID, there have been quite a few changes that we've done on the program. We did have a global approach. But we've restricted our departures now just to our sort of what we call our backyard, being the UK and Europe. And today's presentation, I'm going to focus on just the UK and starting with just our Scottish product to start with, and we'll make our way through to some of our key tours. If we do have any questions throughout, I think there's a raise hand feature. I don't know if I see that or if Melissa sees that, but we'll see how that all comes out, and we can unmute you then for discussion. And obviously at the end of this point, we can also get together for a bit of a chat as well. So our number one tour that we have in Scotland is our Scottish Journey. Now, this tour starts in Edinburgh and finishes in Edinburgh, so it's a nice, easy get-to point for anyone travelling to, whether it be via flight or via train. I do recommend spending some extra time in Edinburgh because we will take off the next morning, and then when we finish, we'll be finishing in the early afternoon. So if you do want to maximise your time in Edinburgh, perhaps speak to Melissa about 2 or 3 extra nights just to go and immerse yourself and enjoy yourself there. From Edinburgh, making our up to St Andrews. If we have any golfers in the room, obviously St Andrews is an amazing destination to pop into. And I'm an avid golfer. I'm just really terrible at it. But I would love to actually tick this off my list of things to do before I finish up. Then making our up to Royal Deeside. And you'll notice throughout this tour, 2-night stays throughout. Okay, so you're not constantly packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking. You are enjoying yourself. So on your second day at Royal Deeside, you're just exploring the region there. So you're not driving too far. It's nice and relaxed. And once again, you will have ample free time to come to enjoy yourselves personally too, or with your new friends that you may have met on the coach as well. Coming through Cairngorms National Park into Culloden, we have a bit of a war history that we focus on in Culloden here. War history is a huge part of the Backroads experience, and it's where we started from 35 years ago as well. So wherever we can feature these in tours, we do. Onwards through to Inverness. Now, obviously, Inverness, I've learnt from my discussion with Melissa yesterday, is the starting point of a famous 500-mile drive that people like to do in Scotland. Unfortunately, we don't go any further north than Inverness. And in all reports, we travel for 64 miles of the North 500 on our journey. So not a key feature for us this season. We did actually have an Orkney Isles trip that we used to operate. I mean, we'll probably bring it back in due course, but we just need the world to equalize a little bit for us to bring that back, which will then cover a lot more ground on the 500 trip. En route through via Plockton to the Isle of Skye. So once again, 2 nights here on the Isle of Skye to really just take it easy and take your time and enjoy. From here, we'll actually ferry our way down to the Isle of Mull, and then whilst we're there to visit the Isle of Iona. And we stay in a wonderful hotel on the Isle of Mull called the Western Isles. Definitely worth a Google. Lovely destination, very slow pace. I do know that with the free time that we do allow on all of our tours, sometimes our Scottish guides once again have a personal note or a history note that they know that no one else knows. And I know in some instances, although we leave at a leisurely pace at no earlier than 8:30 every morning, some of the guides will ask if we can leave smack on that early time for an early ferry back onto the mainland, because there's something special they want to show you back en route through to Edinburgh. So stay tuned if you are traveling on this particular tour for some really innovative, non-manifested touring experiences to really make highlight of your trip. This is actually one of our top 3 selling tours globally. I think we do this Scottish tour very different to your normal Scottish tour, and you can look around and via Melissa to look at different examples of what I guess the Circle Tour of Scotland is about. Be ready for the ferries. Some people don't deal with the water as well as others. I love the ocean, so for me a bit of rock and roll is great. And as I mentioned right at the start there, to plan some extra time in Edinburgh. Now we do have also a shorter tour as well in Scotland, which we call our Treasures of Scotland. And this is, I guess, if you don't have the time for the full island here. The also benefit of this is it doesn't double up too much on what we did on the Scottish journey as well. So if you have more time, again, you can do what we call a back-to-back tour. And 33% of our passengers actually do back-to-backs, especially in Spain and in Italy. But a great way to see the inner parts of Scotland here. Once again, starting from Edinburgh. Once again, recommending if you do this tour to get a few more extra days in Edinburgh, because it's a wonderful city. Heading up north via Doon Castle into Perthshire. Heading up and then into the Scottish Crannog Centre, where you'll get a chance to do the Highland Safari, which looks great. Then down through to the last, once again, a 2-night stay, then with a quick visit on your free day up to Glencoe. Making your way down through New Lanark back across the Scottish borders for 1 night before heading back into Edinburgh. So again, an amazingly paced trip. You're not on the coach for hours on end. There are some amazing whiskey tastings if anyone likes to dabble. And we've obviously joked about people having their drinks on this call. I've got a flavoured water because I couldn't quite bring myself to have a whiskey just yet. But next time, definitely I'll have a whiskey on me. But also a cruise on Loch Lomond, and as well as staying at the lodge on Loch Lomond, which is a wonderful accommodation and very, very unique and speaks to the region, again, that you're touring through. So these are our 2 main Scottish tours that we offer. As mentioned, we did and probably will bring back our Orkney trip in due course. But to help you with Scotland, and once again, talking to the concept of back-to-back touring, we also have what we call our Highlights of Britain tour. Now, this tour is what I like to call a connector tour. It's a great way that you can do a hell of a lot more, unpacking from London and making your way north, and then connecting with one of those 2 Scottish tours very easily. On the flip, you can actually do one of our Scottish tours and do this tour in reverse as well. as you guys are localized, you'll see that this itinerary has very, very short drive days for you, with ample 2-night stops again for you to really maximize your time. So we're not trying to whisk you through the UK to get you to your destination, kick you off. We really want to spend the time with you guys there. London, Wales, Scotland, all covered in this amazing journey here with some beautiful hotels, some great walks, some great photo opportunities, and some beautiful sights in the Cotswolds that you get to see as well. Obviously, Beatrix Potter Hilltop Farm is included on this tour. The Beatles Museum is another great add-on for this tour as well in Liverpool. And there's the Titanic Museum there as well, which I'm a bit of a cruise person, so I'd like to do that as well. So as I mentioned, connects beautifully with our tours out of Edinburgh. We do have our other version of this southern tour, and this is just a southern tour, leaving from Edinburgh and making its way down southbound, but focusing on the east coast of the UK versus the west coast predominantly, which the highlights of Britain did. Some great experiences here on our enchanting Eastern England is a punting boat trip in Cambridge, the Gisborough Hall Hotel, and also Sandringham Estate, which obviously has some with the royal news at the moment. And apologies to everyone who is a bit caught up with the Prince Philip thing. It's brought its way all the way to Australia too, so we are lamenting with you all. A great little tour, finishing in London, early afternoon as well. So this is a nice way to bring you back home if London is home. Now we have some specialty tours that we offer as well. And when I'm speaking to Melissa, she said it was worth mentioning these ones as well. If you are a bit of a flora buff, we do have our English Country Gardens tour. So this runs for the whole season, the season being from May through to October. The benefit of this tour here is that, you know, obviously we're featuring all the fantastic gardens that exist in the southern UK region there, but we do have specific dates highlighted for the Hampton Court Show, which we know Princess Kate is very fond of, and also the Wisley dates as well. And they will be highlighted on our date manifest for you to choose if that the highlight tours for you. Get a chance to stroll the spectacular grounds of Hampton Court Palace and enjoy a guided tour of the historic Royal Botanic Gardens. The big tip we give you guys here is take some amazing walking shoes. You'll be doing some amazing Ks on foot because we're not driving that far at all on this trip. Really, really amazing journey. But as part of that gardens experience, we also do have the definitive Chelsea Flower Show tour, which normally is in May. And in 2022, we'll be back in May, but we know in 2021, it has now been moved to September, or it might have been cancelled now, but it was moved to September last time I checked. This year, we won't be running it circumstantially. We look to try and do it, but we've now moved everything through to 2022 just for safety. But key points here, if you do book on the first 2 days of our Chelsea Flower Show, they are member days at Chelsea. So it'll just have a select crew inside, which gives you ample time to walk around at your leisure. Obviously taking some tips and advice from our tour leaders who are also very keen on flora and the history of what is the Chelsea Flower Show as well as getting a chance to then also drive around and see some of those amazing gardens that we do feature on our English Country Gardens tour. Now, the one thing with this particular tour, which only runs 5 departures, but we do have reverse departures as well, just to let you know, is that groups do like to book it. So, you know, for example, Melissa might go, hey, I'd love to take all of you guys on this call to the Chelsea Flower Show, and she books out the departure just for all of you great people too. I'll have to let the hotel know we need more Aperol, but we can do this. But these are great opportunities to travel together in a really, really close environment, small, but obviously focused on the gardens of the UK. Staying with the gardens here, but then heading out to the far east, southern east coast there is our Kent, the Garden of England tour. So really, really popular tour. A great connector tour again up with our Highlights of Britain tour, also our Corners of Cornwall tour, which will come up soon. But a great destination there, traveling across to the cliffs of Dover there, which is a great photo opportunity nonetheless there. Canterbury Cathedral, Dover Castle, and staying at Leeds Castle. And I love this place. And I look at all my tour partner competitors out there, and we're all great companies. We all do amazing things, and they all stay in Leeds, and Leeds is wonderful and does what it needs to do. But to stay in the grounds of Leeds Castle, it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, Google it. It is wonderful, 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 wonderful. But our local guides there really do make this tour something special. Now, our Heart of England tour really is a Cotswolds tour. So we do feature on this area here. A visit to Anne Hathaway's cottage as well. Staying at the wonderful King's Hotel in Chipping Camden. And this would have featured on one of my earlier slides with the coach parked in front. And a visit to the Roman Baths, which you can see behind in the image there. So a nice little quick little getaway. Very, very popular for a singularized tour or part of another journey, or be connecting with something like our Highlights of Britain tour to make your way up to Scotland as well. So very, very short drive days again, multi-day stops. You're not always packing, unpacking, which I know can be the issue sometimes with people trying to book coach tours, and guides who are all local specialists on this region here to really amp up what you're getting out of your journey. Now, I've chucked in the wonders of Wales because not many operators actually do a Wales definitive tour. Now, I guess the easy thing for most people is that you can just hop on a train or a plane through to Cardiff. And again, I would suggest booking a couple extra nights in Cardiff because we only have that first night before we take up northbound through to Brecon Beacons, making our way up to the North Wales here, going through the beautiful Snowdonia National Park through here, making our way onto the west coast, and this absolutely blows my mind. I didn't realise Wales had such sensational coastal scenery until I started researching this tour when I first started with the company, and I've fallen in love with Pembroke. Absolutely fallen in love. I think it's the cutest, quaintest, most beautiful town, and it makes me think of Italy, weirdly. But it is yours. It is yours to enjoy. But a great little 2-night stop there in Pembrokeshire. And then as we make our way back through to Cardiff as well. So a great paced 8-day tour, which I highly do recommend if you do have the time. And what else I learned? Their beer is called Brains, the Welsh beer. And last but not least for my touring showcase today is our Corners of Cornwall. And the reason I've added this on is because it is our #1 sold tour, and not many people do Cornwall like we do Cornwall, and that's why I just thought I'd highlight it. And one key thing before I even get into the touring experience is that my general manager in the UK decided to jump on our #1 tour to get his head around what Backroads was when he started, and he has claimed to be to Cornwall 50 times, and I'm sure many of you guys have been to Cornwall as well. He said he learned so much and saw things he'd never heard of. He didn't realize you could turn left here or turn right here, and that would take you to this. So an amazing tour, once again, with our specialist guides. Some key things here, obviously staying in Dartmoor National Park on that first night on tour. So you're staying right in the heart of it. Great for the walkers, hikers, and just the naturalists. If you're a bit of a photo buff, a great spot as well. Making your way down to the south there into Falmouth, where we have the 2 nights, which gives us some great short drives to go and visit St Ives and St Michael's Mount. Now we visit St Michael's Mount, we actually take you across there, and I have noticed some companies say they view or they see St Michael's Mount, so pay attention to this when you're looking at touring, because that just means they're going to look at it. You're going to get a photo of it from afar, but you won't get a chance to experience it. So we actually have a full or half day to go and experience St Michael's Mount. From finishing off there, making our way back through St Austell, an amazing hotel here right on the coast. I love it. Back via Devon into Dorset. Finishing up in Salisbury just for 1 night just to make the drive back into London a nice, easy piece for you as well. Key thing again is our top tour does sell more. We do have more dates in this departure than we do for all the other products, just as an FYI. In our free time, we don't visit the Eden Project, but we know it's super popular because if the world does collapse, we need the Eden Project to bring us back. So if you do want to see this, it is allowable with the time we have on stop, and you can make your way and speak to the tour leader about suggestions on how you might get out there. And as a bit of a cheeky comment, pack for Cornwall. It's one of those destinations that offers all the seasons. Leslie's nodding there. Yeah, you're going to get hot, you're going to get cold, you're going to get windy, you're going to get rain. It is a surf coast. We know this. So be prepared. Obviously take a spray jacket and take a good jumper as well, but also your shorts as well, just in case you get one of those nice days. I guess one of the features in Australia, we live on this line as our main selling feature for this tour because it resonates quite well with the Australian community, but it might not for you, but I'll try it out. We're one of the only operators in the world to have a standing reservation at Rick Stein's seafood restaurant in Padstow. So we do have lunch there on tour that is included. There was no extra cost for that lunch at Padstow. And if you're into the celebrity chef kind of thing, as I mentioned, I'm a gastro tourist. It gets me excited. This is a great little feature and highlight that isn't featured in many other tour operators programs either. Wrapping up all the destinations that we do go to, the battlefields, as I mentioned, that's our starting point. These leave from Lille. So easy with the train from Pancras Station in town. France, north, south, and everything in between. Well-covered tours there. Some great cheese and champagne tasting, definitely. Italy from north to south and everywhere in between. Sicily included through that. Malta we include kind of through that program too. Spain has really kicked off, and I know the UK loves Spain more than life. But that touring of the southern region of Spain really is something special, and towns like Ronda really speak to the destination. Portugal, we've actually added a brand new tour starting from Portugal, heading north into the north of Spain. So I guess the Camino route, we like to call it, and finishing in Bilbao, and much, much more. So Scandinavia, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, you name it, we kind of do it, and it's well covered. But Melissa has all of our tours in her arsenal if you ever want to discuss opportunities. Post was at May 15 where you guys can travel. We have an e-brochure for this season, just because we didn't know how much to print, because we didn't know what the world was doing. So Melissa can send you an e-link to this brochure if you wish to see more. This will take you through all of the tours in a little bit more detail, highlight some of the points that I may have missed just due to time constraints. And also then give you links to the website to some great videos that you can watch with sound, with the comfort of an Aperol or tea in hand. To the elephant in the room, obviously we do have to pay attention to the COVID-19 protocols that exist from the World Health Organization, and we do this very well. We've created what we call booking flexibility in our what we call COVID assurance policy. Now, there's no extra cost for this policy. It's included for your bookings at the moment. What this enables you to do is, I guess, two things. For yourself personally, if you have to cancel your tour because unfortunately you have contracted COVID, full refund, no questions asked. We ask for your PCR test certificate to prove that, and no harm, no foul. If someone was traveling with you, they didn't contract it, but they're on the same booking as you, don't worry, they're looked after as well. Flipping that on its head, if you're booked to go to France and the French border closes and the tour has to cancel, again, with this policy, full refund, no hassles, no harm, no foul. And I know some companies do charge like a $99 or $395 insurance kind of thing, but we do have this covered for you at no extra cost for now. All of the finer details on this can be found on our website if you do have time as well to look into it. And worst case, you can also ask Melissa. She'll have access to all these details as well. We do have loyalty discounts. So if you have traveled with Backroads Touring before, you will receive an additional discount if you're booking your next tour. And also if you're booking what we call a back-to-back tour, we deem that second tour as your next tour as well. And you also get a multi-tour discount as well. So there's great ways to save as well. We do launch some specials as well. I'm going to send all the, it hasn't launched yet. It's launching on Friday, but a sale is kicking off on Friday. So I am sending all the details through to Melissa to share with all of you guys, just so you can see. Our Scottish tours are part of this sale campaign, and you'll be saving rumor has it up to 10% on those tours as well. So just you haven't heard anything. You're going to hear it post Friday from Melissa. She'll give you all the details from there. We have been given the Safe Travels tick of approval from the World Travel and Tourism Council as well. And this just means that what we are doing on tour, obviously with our coaches, the cleaning protocols, looking after yourselves, has all been given the tick of approval from the World Travel and Tourism Council as well. So again, traveling such short distances on the coach means you're not going to be having as much exposure, not visiting the main icon attractions. You're not going to have 10,000 people at destination trying to clamor into a building. But to know we have this on your side will make you feel hopefully a bit more comfortable. We do ask for you at the moment, based on their recommendations, to bring a mask with you, as well as sanitizing, cleaning material for your hands, just to make sure you are nice and clean yourselves. But we are looking after our side of the equation as well as we can. You can keep up to date with all of our products, our images, reviews, history, etc. via social media if you're into it. I know Melissa has an avid social media following back behind on her side as well, so she can also share some of this product on her page as well. A few awards there, that's just boasting to finish the presentation here, but we have won 5 years in a row now the British Travel Awards for Best Small Group Coach Operator in the UK. But from myself, Dylan Hearn, all the way from Australia, I thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you've learned something a little bit new. If you hadn't heard of Backroads Touring, welcome to Backroads Touring. And if there's anything we can do via Melissa to help you plan your next journey somewhere, we look forward to seeing you on tour. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dylan. That was brilliant. That was really good, very inspiring. And it was very nice to see the hometown on there, Stratford-upon-Avon. And
there you go.
Yeah, and I know there are some others from where you guys are from and near as well, so that's good. Quite apt to be mentioning how crazy our weather is at the moment, I think, because I got sunburn and then had ice cream and then it snowed all in the same afternoon the other day. So that was a bit random. But yeah, the photography opportunities in so many of the spots that you've mentioned are just exquisite. And I think seeing your presentation kind of just re-emphasizes how incredible this country is and how lucky we are to have it all really relatively close to us. And as you said, the drive times in between each of the towns and everything, even going the whole way, you know, the whole stretch of the UK, really it's not really that far, but it makes for a great 8-9 days or whatever. So thank you very much. Great insight.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I did have a couple of questions that have come through to me. One of them that you answered, which was about extensions or adding on days. So thank you for that. And yes, I can add extensions either end, or as Dylan said, we can look and see if there are any other of the trips that fit in dates wise and things to kind of extend and cover more of the area of each country. Do you do tailor-made group trips, for example, if it was a group of friends or a big family trip or anything? I know that you mentioned booking out the whole trip, but is it set like that, or are there options for tailoring?
Yeah, great question. And we have done tailor-made touring before, but just with the reduction in our staff, we've had to modify some of our programs. So at the moment, we definitely we promote, and we've seen quite common in the rebooking phase, families and whole groups taking out departures, but the departure would be as it currently sits. So your pre and post, then, you know, you can make it into a longer tour, so to speak, but the day 1 to day 9, for example, if we were looking at a 9-day tour, would be as is, but we can offer the tour just for you. in turn, as we rebuild and we up staff and the world turns into a happy place once again, that the opportunity to Tailor-Made will probably come back into play. So look out for that. But for the next 2 seasons, so for the 21 and 22 season for now, it would be just the current departure, the set date, and yes, you can have it to yourself if you want.
Okay, great, thanks. Another one is about the garden tours. Do they include all the entries for the gardens, and are the guides in the gardens as well?
Yes, definitely, and yes. So just to give you a bit background on the guides, and they would have told you the story if I gave them their 2 minutes of glory today, but due to Neilson and I work in travel, we don't work in tech, so we're limited with some of our resource there. But all our guides only do tours they're interested in. All right, so our battlefields guides only have a vested interest in battlefields and have passion for it. Likewise, our garden guides have an absolute passion for flora and fauna. So yes, all your entries to all those events are included. So you're not going into your pocket to get in there at all. The guides will be with you, but you'll also be allowed to go, obviously, and roam. So they'll say, okay, meet back at X time to go into your next journey, or there might be a dinner included that evening that you need to get to. And you can either stay with the guides. There's no harm, no foul doing that if you wish. But also you can then go roaming yourselves at the same time as well. So wherever you can, I sort of at the start talked to it, like these are local guides. So whether you're in Scotland, Ireland, Italy, Spain, if you've heard there is an ABC or there's a food, there's a drink, there's a something, always grab them for this bit of information before you get off the coach kind of thing. So when you hit the ground kind of running. But yeah, super popular tours, those the Chelsea Flower Shows and also English Country Garden Tours because of those, especially the Wisley and the Hampton Court events too. But yeah, all the guides will be with you, entry included. You just have to probably just take some water with you and just you'll have to buy your own lunch, I'd assume, on those days as well.
Okay, great. So they're basically specialist guides for the topic that that it is of interest on each of the trips. So, okay, and the last question that I have is, if we're not London-based, can we join in elsewhere on the tour?
We have done this in the other way, so we've had people finish early. So I'd assume yes, we could. What we would then do. Let's just use a quick example there. You live closer to Cornwall. I said, see what Cornwall stuck in my head. Or the Cotswolds. So if you're going from London, you live closer to the Cotswolds and you want to start at in that hotel, we'd give you the hotel name. And we'd let our tour leader know on manifest that you'd be meeting us there. And then we'd try and give you as close as possible time that we would be arriving. But the hotel would then know you'd be coming. So I'd assume from 2 p.m. you'd be able to check yourself in anyway, or 2 or 3 p.m. And so yes, you could. There wouldn't be any cost differential, unfortunately, because of that. But if that saves you having to spend money to get to London or Edinburgh or wherever it might be, yes, it can be accommodated. And likewise, as I mentioned, if you want to finish early because of whatever reason, and it's easy to stay in Salisbury than to go all the way back into London, yes, you could do that.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, that's all the questions that I have been sent. If anyone else has any, then please either message them in the chat or feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself. That's fine. If you think of any questions in the coming days, then please give me a call. It would be nice to have a chat with you and a catch up. That would be great. And yeah, that's probably about it then really on that, if I don't have any other questions. But as always, we really appreciate your feedback. So please feel free to email me or message me, any of that. If you have any destinations that you're wanting to learn more about and hear more about and have presented in the coming weeks, then do let me know. I have quite a lot lined up actually. I've been working quite hard to try and keep our Tuesday travel sessions and keep them exciting destinations, obviously, because there are quite a lot of destinations that we can cover. So that's been quite fun. So yeah, thank you very much, Dylan. once again. And hopefully everyone will be able to join next week, as we have Lee from Insight Vacations, who will be talking to us all about North America. So that's quite different to all of the other destinations that we've spoken about so far. And I thought it was about time we went that way round and went across there. And then, yeah, so hopefully he will give us lots of inspiration on where to explore when we're wanting to go there. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of the couple of weeks after that, so we then actually are welcoming Randveg back again, because not only does she and her company OBO specialize in Iceland, but they also specialize in Namibia. So hopefully you'll all be excited to join for that, because yeah, it was quite a special one that she gave last week. That was, yeah, really good. So I'm excited about that anyway. And then the week after that we have Belmond, which I think will actually tie in quite nicely with Dylan, with the presentation that you just gave, because Belmond, the trains specifically within the UK, I think perhaps that could be something that that ties in quite nicely. So it'll be exciting. So yes, and then we have a few more after that dotting around the world. So look out in your emails and on social media, and I will keep you posted. So yeah, thank you to everyone for joining us, and do stay in touch with me. It's been lovely to see you, and thanks again, Dylan. You can go and have a little snooze before your actual day, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you, Melissa. Cheers.